Do you feel like you have gifts, powers, and abilities that are just not quite letting themselves come out yet? If so, you might have some vows in place. You might have vows that you made in childhood or elsewhere to not share them with the world. In this video, we're going to be exploring this topic of vows. I'm going to help you get clarity on where these vows come from. And at the end, I'm going to be doing a clearing on these agreements that we make with ourselves to hold ourselves back. My name is Adam. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Before we dive into the video for today, I just want to let you know I'm going to be doing some free breakthrough calls. You can click the Calendly link that's pinned in the comments below. These are 30-minute calls where I'm going to help you map out a blueprint as far as what your vision is for your life and what's holding you back so you can really get into action. Now, let's get into the video. Gifts. Who feels like they have gifts? Who feels like they have gifts inside of them somewhere? Or powers, magical abilities, psychic abilities, artist abilities, creative abilities, but have difficulty letting them out? Where do you think this might come from? I was just doing a show with an artist and I was interviewing her. And she was telling me about how now she's, finally getting her stuff out there, and she's created her own channel and she has her own website. But for many years, because of her childhood, she wouldn't do it. She was too ashamed of who she was. And I remember just feeling like I totally relate to that. I was exactly the same. When I was a kid in elementary school, actually, and teachers would pass out like blank sheets of paper so that we could doodle during free time. Anytime I would draw anything, even just a squiggly line, and someone would walk by where it was in view of them, I would put my hand over it and hide it because I was so afraid for anyone to see anything that I made because of the shame. Can you relate to this? Does this make sense to you? This is very common. And a lot of times what happens is when we're little, some sort of trauma occurs or criticism at the hands of, a parent figure or a teacher. And we make these silent vows, like I will not show myself to anyone ever again. For me, it happened in a number of different places. One of them was when I went on this camping trip with my school one weekend when I was like in 5th grade. And they told everybody that you had to wear a name tag when you came into the auditorium to eat. And if you forgot it, you were going to have to get up and sing. And I was a very shy, sensitive kid. And I forgot my name tag. And they all started egging me on. And the counselors were egging me on. Everyone was cheering my name, Adam, Adam, Adam. And I crawled under the table and started crying. And that I forgot about for a while. And it was locked in there. Anytime I would go to perform, I would remember that event. Do you have any events like this from your past where you experienced such shame or criticism or fear that you shut your gifts off? Another place that this comes from is past lives. And I don't know who's watching this and how much they're into past lives. I just can't not talk about it because of how much of a release and clearing and healing I've had from working with them. You don't have to fully believe in them, but maybe just consider it. I went through my childhood with a fine-tooth comb with therapists, and there were a lot of things that happened in my childhood that answered questions as far as like the blocks I was having in my life were concerned. But there were some things that just I could never get to until I started working on these other levels. Like, for example, one of my life lessons has been to share my voice. And it's also been my deepest fear, deepest trauma, deepest fear. And I would always feel like when I would go to talk, there would be the terror like on par with being murdered. Like in my nervous system, I would be so afraid of speaking. It's the same kind of fear you would feel as if when you went to speak, you might get killed. And it wasn't until I started working on, past lives and stuff with some different healers that they saw things just on their own that answered these questions. Like, I'll give you an example. I did a lot of work for many years And I had a lot of different psychics and intuitives find the same storylines on their own. You know, like when 7 different people say you merged with technology in a past life and they never met or talked to each other. It's like, what did they all just make this up? But they never found what this one woman found. I remember she told me one time, she's like, I see this court jester timeline for you, where you would incarnate kind of repeatedly as a court jester. And I remember it feeling so true to me because I always wanted to be like free and funny and a comedian, but I was always really shy and reserved. So and afraid to let myself go like that. It was one of the things that drove me to do stand-up because I just wanted to shatter all that. And I remember when I would get up to do stand-up, there would be this part of me that felt like if I really wanted to, I could make all these people laugh so hard, but it wouldn't come out. It just wouldn't. It was so buried. And one of the things that she found in the Courtchester timeline was all these times where I got killed. Because that's how a Courtchester is, right? It's like medieval times, kings and queens, when they're just murdering everybody. And if you make them laugh, great. I mean, you probably remember like in school, in high school or junior high, if you said something out loud, when the teacher was talking, but it was really funny, they'd laugh. If not, you were in big trouble. Well, if you're a court jester and you say the wrong thing to the wrong king, you get beheaded. And that was the fear that was in my body. And I remember going like that, like you couldn't be more right. And there was another lifetime, and this relates to you because I want you to check in and just kind of ask if you have any of these things in your self. Where I had some life where I was a kid and I was very psychic and I could see things and I could feel things. And I was kind of sharing that with my parents. And I had a father who was very judgmental and didn't believe in any of that stuff, or thought I was like, was religious and thought I was like possessed by the devil. And so it led to this very deep shame in me. And what she said was, I made this sort of vow within myself that I would bring my gifts to earth, but I wouldn't use them. And I remember when she said that, it was so validating because that has been one of the knots my entire life. I've always felt like I have these abilities in me, but they won't ever come out right. And so then I would ask myself, well, do I actually have these gifts and they won't come out right? Or am I just telling myself I have these gifts to make myself feel better about myself and I'm just being arrogant and I don't really have them? And the torture of feeling like I can do this, I can write really good music, I can write really good comedy, but it won't quite come out, is like probably the worst torment there is, because it's your true self wanting to emerge and not being allowed to. And the friction that is created by that, it just ruins you. Because what it does is if you don't shine your light and let your gifts out, you're relegated to working shitty jobs that don't make you happy. It doesn't matter if the job's shitty, but it's going to be shitty to you because it's not going to be what you want to do, because you won't let your best self or your zone of genius emerge. So naturally, you're going to default to these things that are unfulfilling. Because success isn't about whether you make it or not, or how many followers you have, or how much money you make. It's about letting your best self in your highest timeline come out of you and just doing it. So we're going to do a little bit of a vow removal now. Just check in to see anywhere in your body or in your energy field where you've made vows in this lifetime, from childhood or any other lifetime, to withhold your gifts, not to use them. We're going to ask your higher self to neutralize these vows. Give yourself permission to let them go and allow your gifts, your abilities, your psychic powers, your magic powers, your creative powers to emerge. And also give your higher self permission to clear any traumas from anywhere, childhood, before, beyond, around putting yourself out there, expressing your gifts to the world, and being judged, condemned, murdered, stabbed, burned at the stake, locked in prison, and just ask to have all of this neutralized and released once and for all, so that you now can ground in your highest timeline and let your true gifts come forth. Just notice your body a little bit, notice your energy field, really intend this, and then just let go. Just let go. I allow, you can do a little affirmation, I allow myself to express and activate my gifts. And just give permission for an activation of all of your gifts to come forth and to be allowed to flow through you and to flow through your body and out into the world wherever they need to go, whoever needs them, whoever will benefit from them. And just make that commitment in yourself to allow this to occur. Good. You can stay in this energy a little bit more. You can come back and watch this, or you can just do this on your own in meditation as well. You should have a free energy clearing you can download, in the description if you want just some extra support while you do this. Good. It's done. It's done. It's done. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. And please feel free to reach out and like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. I will see you next time.